Welcome to Carolina News Now. I am Chandler Morgan. If you are with us, that means it is Friday. We have made it through the week, another week, and it was a big week, especially for our kids and our families. We're going to be talking about kids getting the vaccine. We know that, of course, the CDC approved the vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. So we're going to catch up with some kids in Charleston in just a bit. Another big story this week we're going to get to is, hey, if you're thinking about holiday shopping and Christmas presents already, well, we're talking about some potential issues that might be happening with some shortages for truck drivers. But I do want to go over and get over to Star Dairy, who's going to be joining us in just a bit for a check of the weather. She is our meteorologist with us this week from WITN because we have got to talk about the weather. It has been rather chilly across the Carolinas. This is a live picture from our HD tower cam over here in the Charlotte area. So let's go ahead and get on over to our meteorologist this week, Star Dairy with WITN.
Continuing to track our next big weather event, and it's going to be this offshore low that is going to continue to lift our way, and it's going to usher in some cooler air on the north side of that, but really bring a lot of rain to especially our coastal counties. Here's as we get into very early morning Saturday. South Carolina going to start to see this rain widespread along the east coast, and then as we do start to get into Saturday around mid-morning, it's going to be lifting through Wilmington and then on to Morehead City and up the North Carolina coast. Now around lunchtime we could already see some of that light rain stretching into Greenville, even Raleigh, and then eventually back toward Columbia and Charlotte. Again, that's going to be fairly light though. It's going to be those heftier storms along the coastline that we'll be watching for some more impressive totals, and this could linger actually all the way into Sunday as well. Some of that wraparound moisture throwing a few additional storms through the region. Here's a look at where we will see the highest impact. Again, that'll be our North Carolina coast where we could see some of those higher totals. Now I don't think everyone inland is actually going to get a solid inch of rain, but Washington, New Bern, and even toward Manio could see some of those higher totals. Additionally, we're going to be falling back this weekend. So these are the times for Charlotte. For this evening, we're going to see that sun setting about 6:31, but after those clocks do roll back, we are going to see the sun setting in the 5 o'clock hours. So these evenings get shorter and shorter, and of course we're going to continue to keep an eye on these temperatures as we do head into the cool season. Now we are already watching the days get shorter, but again, this is definitely going to be notable, definitely going to make the days seem completely different as we dive into the fall season. We'll keep you updated.
All right, Star, thanks for that update there. We'll check back with you in just a bit. So if you're watching right now, we want to know where you're watching from. Leave us a comment if you're watching on Facebook Live, where you're watching from. Again, we're going to be catching up with different news stations across the Carolinas. We want to get over to Charleston now. We're going to catch up with some kids who actually got their shots this week for the COVID-19 vaccine. They were able to because, again, the window opened for the 5 to 11-year-olds to get their vaccines after the CDC's approval of it this week. So let's check in with a reporter there, Emily Zukowski, who talked to some kids.
I'm here at one of the locations in downtown Charleston where MUSC is administering COVID-19 vaccines to kids 5 to 11.
I got my COVID-19 vaccine.
Words of excitement from one of the kids vaccinated for COVID-19 today at an MUSC clinic in Charleston. Today was the first day that MUSC began administering Pfizer vaccines for kids 5 to 11 at 3 area clinics, and more are expected to open up in the coming days. 11-year-old Lucy Harper said one of her friends got COVID-19, and she said that made her want the shot even more.
It was really just like a moment where I was like, oh my God, like, you know, it's really serious.
MUSC says the pediatric vaccine is the same as the one given to teens and adults, but children will receive a smaller dose, 10 micrograms instead of the 30 micrograms that are given to adults. 10-year-old Matthew Moy said getting his COVID vaccine made him feel free.
If you get vaccinated, you get to do more activities, like runs.
Today I feel much better because I'm vaccinated. I don't have to wear the mask anymore.
Also at the clinic today were therapy dogs Gabbana and Dakota. The dogs were here to bring kids a sense of comfort. 11-year-old Ethan O'Neill has a message for kids worried about getting the shot.
It just feels like Jell-O going into your skin. That's all it feels like. You shouldn't be scared.
MUSC says they are also working with the Charleston County School District to offer after-school clinics throughout the district. This rollout comes after DHEC reported that COVID-19 is the 6th leading cause of death in kids in this age group. Reporting for Carolina News Now, Emily Zuchowski, Live 5 News in Charleston.
Emily, it's been a similar situation over here in Charlotte. We caught up with some kids this week too who said they were excited to get their shots, and they even got some free stickers out of it too. Okay, so let's check in with Columbia. Now we want to go over to our State House reporter for the Carolinas, Mary Green. She is talking to Governor Henry McMaster, who says it's garbage, unconstitutional, and overreach. He's referring to what South Carolina leaders are calling on the vaccine mandate the federal government will be imposing on private companies. We're going to check in with Mary Green now, who has more details about this requirement and why Governor McMaster says he is willing to challenge it.
By January 4th, people who work for companies with 100 or more employees will be required to be fully vaccinated or to start getting tested weekly for COVID. The announcement came today from the federal government, saying OSHA could fine businesses around $14,000 per violation or more if they repeatedly violate the rule. But Governor Henry McMaster claims this mandate violates the Constitution.
We will fight that aggressively.
This fight is over the 3-part vaccine mandate President Biden announced in September. South Carolina and 18 other states are already suing the federal government over this part of the mandate, which compels federal contractors to be fully vaccinated by January 4th. Attorney General Alan Wilson says the state plans to file another lawsuit over this mandate for private companies, calling it garbage and unconstitutional. The governor says he's also going to issue an executive order on this.
Barring any South Carolina cabinet agency from issuing or enforcing any vaccine mandate. Number 2, I'll require all state agencies, including the 19 cabinet agencies, to report to me any inquiry or request for vaccination from the federal government.
There's a big game of political chicken going on right now between the state administration and the administration in D.C., and it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Columbia employment lawyer Paul Porter says lawsuits challenging the private business mandate will likely have a stronger case than those filed against the federal contractor mandate.
I think we'll see a lot of lawsuits both on the state level, and I think you will see some corporations, though it may not be exactly popular, but you'll see some businesses with greater than 100 employees challenge it head on as well.
The enforcement of this federal vaccine mandate would come from OSHA, which is not on the best of terms with South Carolina right now. OSHA recently threatened to take over South Carolina's workplace safety regulation, which the state currently controls, claiming that South Carolina has failed to put in place additional COVID safety requirements for healthcare workers. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
Mary, thanks for that update. We are going to go back to the Charlotte area now, where a high school student has come forward to report being sexually assaulted at school. Police investigated the report and they filed charges against the male student. But school administrators at Hawthorne Academy High School in Charlotte have accused the female student of filing a false report and suspended her. WBTV's chief investigative reporter Nick Oxner reports.
He would come into the bathroom and he would push me into the stall.
You're listening to a 15-year-old sophomore student at Hawthorne Academy High School recount the near daily harassment she says she experienced from a male student. Until one day, she says, it turned into more.
He caught me off guard. I wasn't paying attention. And he put his hands in my pants and then he was touching my breast.
The girl says she decided to report what happened after sitting through a Title IX presentation at the beginning of the school year. She reported to school administrators who called police. CMPD confirms they charged a juvenile with sexual battery in response to her report. But that didn't stop school administrators from issuing this letter, saying they found no credible evidence that the girl was assaulted, but found she had filed a false report. They suspended her and removed her from some school activities.
The school did their investigation, gave me a phone call and said, hey, look, unfortunately it looks like there's no evidence that shows that what your daughter is saying took place did. We're going to have to give her a day of suspension. And, so then I asked the principal, I said, well, if the police are telling me that he did do these things, he admitted to them, and that I have the right to press charges, you're telling me this didn't happen. And she said, well, unfortunately, what the law does has nothing to do with CMS. So unfortunately, we have nothing else that we can do about this.
What was going through your mind when you were having that conversation?
I really just thought I had faith in CMS that they were going to do right by my daughter. So when I got that phone call, I was hurt.
CMS says we take sexual assaults seriously. We take Title IX seriously. We want students to report these instances. What would you say to that?
I would say that it's a lie. They don't have your children's back.
In addition to suspending the female student, CMS is also making her attend a class called Sexual Harassment is Preventable.
They are making her feel like she is being punished for coming forward.
Do you think she would think twice before coming forward if a similar thing happened again?
I do, and that scares me because she told me how hard it was for her to come out and tell the story to me, to the school, to the police.
What would you tell school leaders about how this has made you feel?
That they should have done something about it. Instead of punishing me, they should have punished him.
And we've got WBTV's chief investigative reporter, Nick Oxner, here with us live now, based out of Charlotte. Nick, there have been a lot of developments specifically in this case. What can you share with us from this week?
Well, really what we can tell you is there aren't actually that many real developments because the school district has not taken any action to address this discipline that was given to the female student after she reported being sexually assaulted. No members of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District will answer our questions, and the superintendent will not answer our questions. What has happened is since our first story aired on Monday, we've seen reaction from students at Hawthorne Academy High School who left class in something of a protest Wednesday morning. They were out of school on teacher work days, Monday and Tuesday. And I understand from multiple students had tried to protest additional days yesterday and were stopped by the administration. But really, the biggest update here, Chandler, is that there is no update because school officials will not do anything to address our reporting.
So then, Nick, where do we really go from here as we're learning details about this case?
Yeah, well, we continue to press for answers for school leaders, from the superintendent. We intend to ask the superintendent, Ernest Winston, questions on camera. He's not agreed to schedule a time to do that with us, so we'll ask him questions in a public setting. At the same time, the school district has its Title IX task force that the superintendent formed a few months ago to look at how the district handles reports of rape and sexual assault on its campuses in response to some other WBTV reporting. That task force has been meeting in secret. We at WBTV have filed a lawsuit to challenge that, and we expect a ruling in that lawsuit as early as today.
All right, WBTV's chief investigative reporter, Nick Oxner, live with us from Charlotte. Nick, thanks for that update. And I actually want to get over to now a story out of Myrtle Beach where college students are actually upset because they've learned of an alleged sexual assault and a carjacking case. Now, the victim actually reported that it happened at an off-campus apartment parking lot, but we've got Catherine Phillips here with us from Myrtle Beach to give us an update.
Conway police are still searching for the people involved, and for students here on campus, that is adding to the overall uneasiness they're feeling.
I mean, personally, I was scared.
Coastal Carolina freshman Ella Kinsley says this weekend's alleged sexual assault and carjacking has her and many of her friends feeling on edge.
Feeling safe if you're paying this much. I know my parents were a little scared.
Conway police say this happened early Sunday around 4 in the morning. An incident report shows the victim told the officer on scene she had been sexually assaulted and the suspects took off with her car. She was taken to the hospital. Police released these images of a gray Subaru with Massachusetts license plates, asking anyone who sees it or knows something to give them a call. Coastal Carolina Chief of Public Safety David Roper says he thinks this is an isolated incident, but understands why students and parents are on edge.
Based on this incident and what has happened, we have increased uniform patrol. We have added additional members of our police department out, especially during the nighttime hours. We have also added additional individuals that can give our students our safe rides.
Still, for students like Kinsley, she's not sure if it's enough.
Even though campus has, they can pick you up at night, it takes them a while to get there, or if you're off campus, doesn't really help.
Conway police say they are searching for 2 men that could be anywhere from their late teens to early 20s. They say they are to be considered armed and extremely dangerous. Reporting for Carolina News Now, I'm Catherine Phillips, WNBF, Conway.
All right, Catherine, thank you for that update there. We are going to go over closer to Wilmington now, where if you are already trying to get a head start on getting your holiday gifts, you're not alone. People have already started to order Christmas gifts. I mean, how can you not if you're trying to get in the holiday spirit early? Well, unfortunately, there might be a damper on if you're trying to snag those holiday gifts early, because we're seeing the supply chain shortages. And not only that, we're actually learning of a secondary shortage that's contributing to some of the issues that it might have when you're trying to get your gift to where it's going on time. We're talking about a shortage of truck drivers. So we've got Mara McJilton here reporting from Wilmington.
The truck driver training program at CFCC has been around for over 20 years now, but enrollment has nearly doubled in the past year. Officials wanted to make the program more affordable because of the driver shortage that's at an all-time high right now. As store shelves run bare before the holidays, it's not a matter of a lack of supplies, it's getting those goods around the country that is proving difficult, with fewer truck drivers to haul freight from shipping ports.
Over the last couple of years, there's a nationwide shortage, probably of about 500,000 truck drivers, you could say, in terms of moving existing supply chains.
Hans Bean with North Carolina Ports says the congestion at the ports doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. That's where Cape Fear Community College's truck driving training program can steer the economy in a different direction. In about 8 weeks, a driver could have their commercial driver's license, but even that could mean hitting the road.
A lot of guys that graduate from this school, they think they're going to be able to get a local job right off the bat. Some do, but they're very rare because most of the local jobs are held by drivers that have put in their dues. They've been over the road 3 or 4 years.
Program Director Al Gover says being away from family for days at a time is not a sacrifice everyone is willing to make. That's why companies are offering better pay and demanding less experience for new drivers, and for good reason.
The American Trucking Association, according to what they're saying, they need about 900,000 truck drivers just to catch up on the supply train.
That's why each new driver entering the workforce is a mile closer to ending the ongoing shipping delays. Now, I'm also told that CFCC is working on a partnership with a local trucking company to help place new drivers in a position once they get their CDL. For Carolina News Now, I'm Mara McJilton, WECT News.
Hey Mara, thanks for that update. We're going to talk about a different kind of driver now, a school bus driver. We're learning that one school district in particular in North Carolina is deciding to change the wage of their school bus drivers. This is a similar move that we've seen across a lot of school districts, but we are going to go now closer to Greenville. We have Maddie Kurth reporting.
Beaufort County Schools announced that they are increasing the wages for their substitute teachers and bus drivers. And just today, as I spent time outside of their administration offices, I saw a few new candidates come in for applications, something that schools struggling with staffing shortages are hoping that more job seekers will do. A career substitute teacher is pleased to see the pay increases effective this week in Beaufort County.
I have been subbing in Beaufort County schools for 40 years. As a substitute, we need more money. We have been needing this for a long time. After all, I do enjoy what I do, but I want more money.
We are all hands on deck. Admin are going into classrooms, counselors are going into classrooms, and it's just taken all of us to go ahead and make sure that the students get the instruction that they need.
Filling teachers' desks in the classroom is one task, but schools across the county are scrambling to get students to and from the classroom on buses each day.
Right now we have teachers driving buses, we have coaches driving buses, and we have one of our assistant principals that drives every single day because we do not have enough bus drivers.
Bus drivers will now make $18 an hour, up from $13.56. Certified substitutes will make $153 a day instead of $103, and non-certified substitutes will make $130, an increase of $50 a day.
With this pay increase, it makes us competitive with the other job opportunities that are within our county.
For a former employee of Beaufort County Schools, the wage may be just enough to refile an application.
Like, that's a lot more incentive. Like, I'll come back and sub. Like, $153 a day, that's a lot of money.
Money that will hit employees' bank accounts as early as their December payday.
With everything going up, you know, gas, food, everything, we need this increase. We really do.
Other counties have also taken to raising the rates for substitute teachers and bus drivers. Craven County Schools approved an increase for those positions for the first time in 10 years at last month's board meeting, a trend that education employees across the East hope will continue upward. Reporting for Carolina News Now, I'm Maddie Kurth, WITN, Greenville, North Carolina.
All right, Maddie, thanks for that update. We've got to get a check of weather now. Look at this. This is a live picture from resort cams over at Myrtle Beach. So I want to know what your weekend plans are. If you're watching on Facebook, let me know where you're watching from, what you have in store tonight. We know that a lot of places are looking forward to the start of high school football playoffs. So we've got to get a check of the weather now. We've got meteorologist Star Derry joining us from WITN.
Well, many of us have already been feeling the chill in the Carolinas, but we're also going to notice the sunset times changing for tonight. Sunset for Charlotte will be 6:31, and then 5:23 is going to be that sunset time as we do get into the second half of the weekend and those clocks fall back. We are watching the next big weather event, this offshore low, going to pump in quite a bit of rain, especially for the Carolinas coasts. Here's a look at that outlook as we do head into the weekend. We'll see this lifting through South Carolina into North Carolina Saturday morning, and then we'll continue to see some of the heftiest storms right along the coastline, and then this wraparound moisture throwing those showers a little bit more inland. So Raleigh and into Charlotte could certainly see some of this rain, but we will see the highest total staying well off to the east. We'll continue to monitor this and bring any updates as needed.
Star, again, thanks for checking in with us, and thanks for watching with us. Carolina News Now every Friday. We're streaming for you at 1 in the afternoon. I want to know what you thought was the biggest story of the week. Leave me a comment here if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching from Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV, thanks for being with us. We're going to be back every single week. And remember, you can always go to your local news app and you can watch all of those stories as well. So that's a good place that you can go to rewatch all of those stories too. Thanks for joining us on this Friday for Carolina News Now. We hope that you have a great weekend.